Good day, everybody, and welcome to Kill Knight. What's this then? Well, Kill Knight, apart from being an absolutely fantastic name, is a twin-stick shooter slash bullet hell, at least if the Steam tags are anything to go by. It is more of a bullet heaven, I believe, is the sort of coined genre term that's come about ever since Vampire Survivors. I believe you could probably track this one in a family tree back to that one. Not quite as over the top in terms of how you become the bullet hell. This one's a bit more skill focused. It's a lot harder, and honestly, it reminds me a lot if Doom Eternal were to be top down. Which, if you like Doom Eternal's gameplay loop, I think there might be something in here that you're gonna like. But this one comes from developer Playside. Now their previous game was a game called Age of Darkness, which was a base building tower defense game, so a bit different this time around. Still top down though, so. Platforms wise, this one comes to just about everything, really, apart from mobile, I think. So PC, Switch, PS5, 4, Xbox One, Series X and S, so just about everything you really care about. This one came out on the 2nd of October, so not too long ago there. You can pick this one up for £12.79 or $14.99 in dollars. Now, let me just read you a little bit of the premise here from the developer's own website. Condemned to eternal sufferance deep within the voids of an eldritch arena, you must wield an arsenal of devastating weaponry to obliterate swarms of otherworldly horrors and master the demon within. It's pretty sick. It's a pretty sick description. And I would say the game mostly lives up to that description. So, let's have a look at the actual game itself here. So, settings-wise, now, as you might imagine, there's probably not going to be too much in here, but there's more than you might think. So, language, you've got plenty of different languages in here, so a lot of different people can enjoy this one. Display, pretty standard stuff, resolution, display mode, VSync, frame rate limit. Graphics, like I said, yeah, not too much in here. This game goes for a very stylized approach, and it doesn't really need too many toggleable options. It's also not resource intensive really at all. To say this game runs well is an understatement. But yeah, you've got a few different options you can toggle on and off here just in case you need that extra little kick. Gameplay wise, you've got a few different things here. Controller vibration, screen shake, blood. There's a lot of blood, although I imagine if you're playing this game that probably doesn't bother you. In-game timer if you just want to see how long it is until the end of the level. Let's have a look. Audio, yep, standard stuff there. In other, we just have some like data opt-in, so they can, like, you know, if you crash or whatever, they can maybe see why and fix it or something. Accessibility, you can change the cursor if you're playing on mouse and keyboard. Now, you may have noticed the button prompts. I'm playing this on controller because with it being a twin stick game, I like my twin sticks. But this game does actually play pretty well on the mouse and keyboard. I did give it a couple of goes. Which is quite good, although it does, when you load up the game, say real knights use controller, just like when you would launch the Yakuza games, for example, so it's very much intended for a controller experience, but completely playable on mouse and keyboard. Another one here that might be quite useful for a lot of people, because if you're looking at that text on the left, for example, especially the word accessibility, you might find a lot of those letters look incredibly similar for the most part. This makes them a lot more readable. So, that option is always nice, because I can absolutely see how some people would struggle maybe reading some of this text. Controls, you can rebind absolutely everything that you would need to. That goes for mouse and keyboard. Or mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard and controller. It's not often you see controller get the ability to rebind everything as they want. So that's really cool, love to see that. And then you have some credits here, you know, you can see who made the game and you can pause, play them. Always good. Okay, so what else I want to look at? So, the tutorial section here. This is really my only notable gripe with the game. The tutorials are very separate, and they're in their own little mini... Like, you just jump into a level for a few seconds, do the move, and then it'll kick you right back out. I don't really like this form of tutorialization. I wish this sort of thing... I wish they had, like, a full level that, as you progressed through it, it introduced these as time went on. Because you'll go through these, and by the time you've gone through it all, you'll jump into your first level, and I promise you will have forgotten half of it. Now, it's not a huge deal, especially with like a single player game, because you can kind of just learn at your own pace, and it doesn't really matter if you die a few times, especially in these sorts of games. But it is just one of those things. It's like, I feel like the tutorials are always better implemented in how you would actually be using them in game. If that makes sense, sort of like while you're playing the game that you're wanting to be playing. Like no one really wants to come in and do separate tutorial stuff. But I guess that's kind of how they thought about it, was like, okay, we'll move the tutorial stuff to the side so you can jump straight into the game as like soon as possible, which I can also see that, but maybe just having a tutorial level I think maybe would have been a bit better. Like a tutorial level that's sort of like a mini version of the base levels, I think maybe could have been a bit better. But it's not the end of the world. It's just, and like I said, it's like my only real gripe with this game. Other than that, this game really doesn't have any issues. You've got some leaderboards here, so you can see there's me on there for the first level. Score attack, getting high scores and stuff is something the game incentivizes quite heavily. Every time you die in a run or finish a run, you'll see where you got to, or you'll see your personal best. So it's always trying to incentivize you to do better. Other than that, let's click into play here. So there's 5 levels, and you may think that's not very many levels, but these levels are hard. You will not beat the level on the first go around, almost certainly. And then you've got your different difficulties, which are going to make those levels even harder. And then you've got different gear to go through those levels with. And then, like I said, you've got the high score aspect of it. So if you're someone who likes to go for high scores, then there's a ton of replayability here. And there's just a ton of mastery in the actual combat system in this game, because it's quite in-depth, actually. Or there's quite a lot to it, at least. But let's have a look at the equipment screen. So this is where you'll be outfitting yourself with whatever you want to take. So you have like your basic pistols. I believe these are always pistols. These have infinite ammo, but they still have to reload. And when you do reload, you get a Gears of War style quick reload system. However, what makes this one a bit different is that you don't just have to reload. There's also a few other things you can do, like you can swing your sword and you'll get a special sword attack if you do it during that quick reload. Or there's a mechanic about sucking up these like blood gems, and if you hit that button during that quick reload timing, then you'll suck up all the gems that are currently on the screen. Or not even on the screen, that are just on the arena. So yeah, there's a lot going on. So the pistols are going to be your main bread and butter. That's how you're going to be killing most things. Whenever you do hit that quick reload, you do actually overdrive your pistols and they gain some kind of temporary effect. So like these pistols, for example, they penetrate enemies, but when they go into overdrive, they penetrate through all enemies. There's no limit. Whereas the starting pistols, they increase fire rate whenever you hit that. And that's pretty cool. It's when the game gets at the height of its hecticness, it can be a little bit hard to pay attention to that. But this is one of the many sort of skill ceiling aspects of this game. And then here you have your heavy weapon. So your heavy weapon has ammo. Ammo can be regenerated by killing with melee attacks. This is one of the things that I said kind of makes me think of this game as if a Doom Eternal were top-down, because you're gonna be cycling between all of your different moves for different reasons and different resources, and it really reminds me of that Doom Eternal gameplay loop of shoot or low ammo in your weapons, so you would kill with one weapon, switch to another weapon, maybe pull out the chainsaw to get some ammo back, kill with a grenade to get some armor and health. This really reminds me of that. But you can see the heavy weapon I have here, it's called the Rectifier, which is a great name. So it's an assault rifle. The one you start with is like a big scattergun, shotgun, and they have a thing called a Wraith Burst, where whenever I said about how you can suck up soul gems, if you suck up enough of those, you sort of power yourself up and you can unleash like your Wrath Burst, or Wrath Burst, sorry, not Wraith. Wrath Burst from the heavy weapon, and that'll do big damage and also drop health orbs, which is very important. You can take damage very quickly in this game if you're not paying attention, and health does not come quickly, so it's very much very, very punishing by taking damage, and you're not going to get that health back quickly. And then you've got your sword, which is your melee weapon. So those are going to have slightly different traits and stuff, and you can see sword trigger. That's what I was talking about with the pistols. If you activate the quick reload, but with the sword attack button, which is square in this instance, then you'll do a forward slice attack that goes through enemies and stuff. Has a bit of a range to it. And the trait of this sword is a swing slightly faster. I haven't unlocked any more, but you can see there's quite a good selection of everything here. And you don't get these. You have to actively be working toward them. You don't just get them. Or at least you won't just get them quickly. There is a system you can see in the top right where there's coins, and if I hover over something I don't have, you can see I can use coins to buy it. You get those at an okay pace, but it's definitely not the intended way to unlock things. It's just a, if you've been playing a bunch, here's some coins, get whatever you want type thing. But if you want to get this next thing, I would have to, so if I want to get this next sword, the Swift, what's that, Swift's Blade? Swift Shade. The fucking, I need the accessibility text on to read that. Swift Shade, I think. Pulse counter an enemy while at 500x kill stream in a single layer. So pulse counter is just an enemy does a very specific type of attack. You melee just as it hits, and you'll do a parry, for example. And this wants you to do that while you have a high kill stream, where it's just killing enemies back to back to back to back to back will up your sort of kill stream multiplier. And if you don't kill anything in a certain amount of time, then that'll reset. So incentivizes very fast, aggressive playstyle, which with the aesthetic of this game and the overall theme, yeah, I would very much expect that. And then here you get some armor. This, you know, has a couple of different effects, such as your dashes, because that's how you dodge in this game. You do get an iframe dodge, so you can dodge through enemy attacks with it. And this one increases dash recovery speed and has 2 dashes. Again, I haven't seen what the other armors are looking like, but you can see they have little sort of stat meters there. So it's all looking like good stuff. And then you have, I keep doing that. You have down at the bottom, you have sort of, not really sure what you call these, but they're just like little passive buffs to your overall character. So receive more kill power from blood gems, for example, because as you kill stuff, your kill power will also go up, which is just a meter at the top of the screen, which just increases your overall damage with your pistols, for example, so you can keep up with the harder enemies that are coming at you, as long as you're not taking damage. Too much anyway, because you can lose that kill power as well. And so you can see here I've got dash time is reduced as well for that, so yeah, really interesting equipment stuff here. I like it a lot. Getting a new thing really does feel like your gameplay has completely changed. So what I'm going to do is I'll jump into the first level just because I'm really familiar with that. The next level I haven't actually beaten yet because this game is hard. This game is hard, especially with me only being on the Acolyte difficulty. I don't know what the easiest difficulty is. I haven't tried that yet. Maybe it's significantly easier. Maybe it's only a bit easier. I'm not too sure. And I haven't tried Night, so that could be really quite something. You do get a score bonus depending on what difficulty that you're doing this on. And there is also a locked difficulty. Not too sure how you get it. It's very possible that maybe you need to beat all the 5 levels on any other difficulty to get it. Not too sure. But as always, this is a first impression, so haven't quite done everything in the game yet. But yeah, I'll jump into the first level here so you can kind of see how the gameplay works. Loading times are almost instant. Yeah, welcome to the game. So this is pretty much what you're going to be doing a lot of the time. The levels do dynamically change as you go through each wave of enemy. Now there's nothing to sort of indicate when a wave ends. You just kind of get a feel for it because you'll be playing these levels a lot, so you'll understand when waves are going to change after you've seen it a couple of times. If I melee into these guys, get some heavy ammo, and I can gun them down with an assault rifle. The heavy weapons are very, very strong. They're almost act as your oh shit button. I mean, you do have an actual oh shit button in this, which is your wrath burst. I'll see if I can show you that here now. So if I suck up some stuff here. So you hit R1 and you suck up the gems, and that powers up your wrath burst. And then you hit this, hit L2, and suddenly that's your big oh shit button that's dropped all your health and killed a bunch of enemies. And that's going to change depending on what heavy weapon you've brought with you. So the shotgun, for example, fires just a big orb in a line that goes through all the enemies. I have to say, I think the orb one's better because it can go through every enemy on the map if you were to line them all up, so not super sold on the assault rifle one yet. But as you can see, it's already like, you're in a small arena, lots of enemies. You can see when these ranged enemies start coming in, like just how crazy things could get very quickly. And they really do. Like this is the first level, you know, this is the ground of the difficulty. It's only going to go up from here. Then you got these guys here with the purple, that's I think it's like called like Demon Carapace Armor or something like that. And they're generally a bit tankier, they don't hit stun or anything like that. And you're generally incentivized to use your Wrath Burst against them, because one hit from your Wrath Burst will knock all their armor off. You can still shoot them normally, but they are going to tank quite a few more hits. But your heavy weapons are also pretty good at dealing with them. But there will be certain challenges to get new weapons or maybe like new armor that require you to do certain amount of Wrath Bursts against that particular type of enemy in one run, for example. But visually I really quite like it. It's a very simple style, like there's nothing too crazy under the hood going on here, but I really do like the style aesthetically. I think for the tone and way this game is played, I think this is a great way to do it. It's almost got kind of a, from the main menu anyway, it's almost kind of got this like CRT TV like bending effect to the menus and stuff, and then in here it's very clean and efficient, but also maintaining that very sort of metal art style. I need to use this here because things are getting crazy, a lot of ranged attacks coming in, get a bit of health back. Melee to get some ammo for my assault rifle. And sometimes the arena will change like this and add actual like stage hazards onto it. Now sometimes it could be lasers that don't move like this that just make an area a bit harder to move through. Or sometimes it could be lasers that are moving at all times, and it's something you have to really pay attention to. And there's this guy here. I haven't seen him appear on the other map, only on this one, but if you kill him you get a large amount of health drop, so if you're in trouble at this part of the game, you can try and focus him down, but he's a slippery one, can be hard to catch, especially if you're too busy dealing with these guys. That could be what you maybe want to hold on to a Wrath Burst, or I keep calling it Wrath Burst, I don't know why. Well, you want to hang on to a Wrath Burst, or have a full mag of your heavy weapon for that particular instance. You got these big spinny guys that just sort of zip all over the place and can be real annoying to deal with. Certain enemies, just walking into them will hurt you, and in other enemies that's totally fine, like these little ranged enemies, but obviously this bladed enemy do not touch. There's one thing I've noticed is you can hit certain enemies with your Wrath Burst, for example, and they kind of get stunned, but it's very possible to still walk into them and take damage. Which can, in the hecticness of one of your big Wrath Bursts going off, can be fairly easy to do. Now this guy that's sort of jumping after me and he sort of glows, he's the one that we can do a parry on. So if we land a parry right as he, yep, like that, then we've sort of parried him and he basically dies right away. Now there is another element to it which I fucked up there, but if you hold square, hold the melee button as you do that parry, then you actually get, I forget the name of what the move is called, but you can freeze time, or not freeze time, but slow down time significantly, and it gives you a ton of breathing room to sort of figure out what you want to do next, or maybe pick up a few orbs and get the health charges, or get the health gems, for example. Oh, and I've dashed into that beam. Okay, so that actually gives me a perfect chance, because what I want to do is I want to show you a quick bit of just me not talking over it, because I feel like you really need to experience the sound, the visuals, all of that together without me talking over it. So I'm going to load into the second level here, the harder one, and I'm actually going to turn up the game volume. I'm going to stop yapping for a bit, and then so you can just see what this game has to offer in like a vacuum. So I shall speak to you in a second, but enjoy the gameplay. Alright, well that is some raw gameplay of Kill Knight. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I don't know if you can really pick it up from just watching the game, but it's very easy to get into kind of like a flow state with this game where you're just fully focused on what is happening in front of you, and just it's a great feeling whenever a game can do that. It's another one of the sort of Doom Eternal comparisons that I have, and I kind of feel bad about comparing it so much, instead of sort of describing itself, but it's one of the easiest ways that I can sort of, if you've played Doom Eternal, then you very much understand the feeling of playing this game. Because there's a ton to juggle in the middle of a fight, you know, you're constantly having to keep in mind, like, oh, I need health, so I need to do this now, and I have to try and figure out how to do that while also dodging these 18 enemies that are trying to hit me, and the 18 other projectiles that are currently flying my way. But yeah, to sort of conclude on this one, I think this is an absolutely fantastic little package. For the price, I believe it is absolutely worth it. Like I said, £12.79 or $14.99. I think you, if you like your twin stick shooters, if you like your high skill, high focus games, then I think this one is really going to be one that you're going to enjoy. So yeah, thanks for watching, and this has been Kill Knight. See you next time.